Welcome to our Monday morning webinar where we're here live each and every morning to help you grow your bottom line as always, as we grow our bottom ends, which I did quite a bit of that this weekend. All right. We appreciate everybody joining us this morning. A little sneak peek at what we got coming up today. It's always a surprise for me.
Same here.
All right. We got Todd here. He's going to give us a look at the numbers. We got Mick Bernard from the Booksman Baker team going to give us a look at the mortgage rates. I'm going to share a little holiday marketing tips, and then our very own Mindy Thompson's going to stop by about talk about controlling your day rather than reacting to your day.
Very nice.
And then, of course, Don't Do That with Bob. And if you are listening to the webinar, as always now, we are on Facebook Live. So all you got to do is go over to Facebook, go to the West USA page, and you can watch us live. I look pretty good today.
Yeah,
not going to lie.
Hey.
I was going to compliment you on that.
Yeah, I always look good. All right. As always, if you got any questions, comments, or suggestions, hey, as we get ready to roll into 2020, you might have some guests you'd like to hear from, some topics you'd like to see us cover. Feel free to email us at webinar@westusa.com. And Todd, what is going on in the market?
Well, good morning, everybody. These market stats are for the last 7 days ending today, November 18th, 2019. Taking a look, we have 53 days closed on market. 2.26 months supply. That's a good number. 44% absorption rate. Our average list price continues to climb, something that we're watching, 589,000, almost 590,000. We're at 360 for average sale price, and our list price to sale price retention is a little high at 98.26. Taking a look at inventory, we're hovering, well, that's down almost 1%, about 14,500 units available, active right now. Pending is sitting at 5,025. That's a good number. At least it's above 5,000. Closed units are sitting for the month at 3,012. A little early to try to predict what's happening there. Looking at new listings, this past week we took 1,866 listings. That was up 20% over last week. Days on market is sitting at about 53, which is down just a little bit. So looking at our price ranges, we've dropped under 70% of our inventory being under 500,000. That's the first time in probably 3 years that number's been under 70. So we're going to try to see, what new things we can glean from the direction that that's heading. 109 average days on market for product between 500 and a million. That's just under 20%. And actually the million market and above is climbing just a little bit at about 11%, Mike. So we're looking at our spreadsheet at this point. So those of you who are on YouTube or following us on Facebook, take a look through the webinar. And new listings, you can see last week we only took 1,500, so it's a good sign. 1,866 is significantly more, and that's actually helping because obviously the biggest issue was we've been going from 15,000 units down to 13,000 units, and it would be nice to get that back over 15. Pending is sitting at 5,025. That's a good number. 5,400 is what we like to see right about this time. Again, last year, same period, we were running right about a 5,500 number. But again, that's not a big deal because that pending has been anomalous, or at least has not followed the standard supply and demand that we're used to for the last couple of years. The closed units, as we talked about, a little too early to tell in the month. However, we're at 3,012. Last year, same period, we were at 2,558. So that's about a 18% difference, which means we're 18% ahead of where we were last year, this same period. But again, we're just over midway through the month. So let's see where that ends up at the very end. But the numbers are good. These are positive. You'll see there's a lot of green. You'll see the month supply is at 2.26 months supply, and that's a real good number. We were at 1.84. We've been averaging just about 2 months supply. So if we can get above that 2.25, above that 2.5 mark, that would be fantastic. Average list prices are continuing to climb. We started off the month right about 587,000. We're at 589. It does fluctuate, obviously, as most things do. But again, just to give you a little bit of a gleam, we kind of started the year somewhere about 535,000, 540,000. So, that number for average list price now has gone up quite significantly. Average sale price is pretty much staying in that moderate number, somewhere between 340 to 360,000. It obviously ebbs and flows. Right now, it's at one of the higher ends at 360. Last week, we're at 344. Taking a look at average days on market, 145 is what the entire active residential resale real estate market is at. Again, it's been as high as 160, maybe even a little higher. Last year, we were even a little higher than that. So looking at 145 right now is basically telling us that the market's, obviously still heating up. It's not slowing down. And this is looking at the entire inventory, not just that under 500,000 price range. And then finally, in our list price to sale price retention, we're sitting at 98.26. This is high. What this basically means when it's above 97.8 is that sellers are not giving up, not taking as much as a sale price less than the list. That's a horrible way to say that. What it basically says is that the difference between the list price and the contract price at the time that the contract's accepted, the seller's giving up less. And so as a result, it's, they're closer to exactly what the list prices are. But again, that also, we've seen it as last month, I think we finished right about 97%. And that was kind of consistent through the last couple of months. So 98 means that there's a little less negotiating going on in the seller. Could that be because we're going into the holidays? Could it be that nobody's taking less because they just don't want to, or they're not taking as much because they are trying to get as much as they possibly can because there's fewer buyers in the marketplace? More than likely what the situation is.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about that too when I get to the 3-pack.
Nice. So again, look at how ways you can find us. So we'll just continue to leave this slide as the last slide. Obviously, Alexa flash briefings you can find us at. Go under West USA Realty Market Analysis. Instagram television, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, and of course, our YouTube channel for West USA Realty. You can see the complete webinar. You can also see outtakes, and you can also see the PowerPoint. So that's a nice thing.
All right. Appreciate it as always, Todd. All right.
Thanks,
Moving right along to Mick Bernard here from the Booksman Baker team. All right, Mick, what's going on in the market these days?
Well, the market's up and down. You can see it's a little higher than it has been over the last few weeks, but the bonds always trade in ranges, right? And so we're up against the top of a range right now. Hopefully, we get some resistance that'll get us back with these rates a little bit lower prior to the end of the year. But it's one of those, let's wait and see. The one thing is jumbos haven't really moved much at all. They haven't moved more up and down more than about 1/8. But the conventional FHA, they've moved probably a good 3/8 to 0.5% recently. I expect them to creep back down again. But again, it's a wait and see. It's all we can really do.
All right, so let's talk about
that maze and how to get a mortgage.
Doesn't look like there's much of a maze there.
You go straight diagonal, straight line. Yeah, there you go.
That's hopefully the information that we're going to be able to share today.
See what Adam has in store.
Yeah, so the mortgage lending factor, really, that's what we're going to talk about today. The Mortgage Bankers Association, a few times a year, puts out an index that focuses just on summary. How easy is it to get a mortgage at a certain point in time? That's really what determines. And so the higher the number, the easier it is to get that mortgage. And let's take a look at the next slide we'll go to. And that's pretty obvious when the crash was, right? I mean, you don't really need me to explain that. But you can see that number got really high back in 2006. And then it came right back down again. And so that at the highest point, that's when it was easiest to get a loan, right? You fog the mirror, you get a loan. That's basically what 2006 was all about. And then right after the crash, it was very difficult to get a mortgage, right? And as time has marched on over the last few years, it's gotten a little bit easier. And if we go to the next, but the bottom line is you can get a mortgage today if you qualify for a mortgage. Not everybody is getting a mortgage. And so hopefully this slide can provide some additional information for you. I don't know how, for you people listening today, I can tell you that on a regular time, or multiple times on a weekly basis, I get people question me saying, we're just going to wait for the crash. We're just going to wait for the crash, right? And so hopefully this will give you some information.
Well, this just in, it's going to happen tomorrow at 9:30.
Well, there's Mike's prediction on.
That's my response every time I get a client that's asking when the market's going to crash. I'm like, next Tuesday at 9:30.
So one of these things that's good to tag along with this comment is the fact that 20, 30 years ago, and I know this is a little bit farther back than your chart shows, but again, it's actually more affordable as a percentage of our entire income to own a home today than it was 40, 50 years ago.
Absolutely.
So and it's so that's a good sign amidst this. Yes, you have to qualify. No question about that. What a concept, right?
Yeah.
But at the same token, it's still very affordable in the marketplace today.
Absolutely is affordable. And we in the past have talked about that, right? In some of our slides that we've shared.
Yeah.
And so I just invite you guys to reach out to me if you'd like some slides. If we're having conversations with potential buyers and they're convinced because they talked to their bartender yesterday and they say there's going to be a crash. I mean, there's graph after graph and study after study that shows nobody's anticipating that.
No,
just nobody is.
Yeah, and on a side note, if you have a regular bartender, you probably should send them to our real estate school, right?
Yeah.
Get them licensed, have them hang their license in our referral realty group, and let them just throw you some referrals. Bartenders are the
There
best.
you go. They are. They are.
Like
They hear a lot of stories about doom and gloom. And
Yeah, and then the other thing, Mick, it's easier to get a mortgage, but we're still working with people that can't get qualified.
Right.
But, put them on the path, talk to you guys. You'll put them on the path, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. Our buyers need to know, that they can, if it's not today,
right.
It's just a matter of when. And that always leads to the Booksman Baker team difference in your follow-up.
Yeah. And coming up with a solution, we definitely follow up. An agent in Mesa just put a pre-qualified client under contract that we've had pre-qualified for 6 months. Hang it in there. It's a lower purchase price, lower condo. And guess what? She got seller concessions. It's a down payment assistance program. So this is the one little misnomer I want to throw out there is sellers aren't paying concessions. They are. Just don't be afraid to ask.
right.
Yeah, and especially coming up this time of year. Well, we'll get into that.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, Mick, appreciate it as always.
Thank you, guys.
All right, so let's talk about the holiday marketing tips. All right, you're going
I'm kind of excited about this one.
Don't overthink it, Todd.
Okay.
Don't overthink it. So the first one should go without saying, but I think we should just say it, right? Show up to work.
Oh, my goodness. All right, I was overthinking it.
Um,
Go figure.
I mean, we have found in this industry, and it kind of blows me away. Most agents, they're taking time off, and when I mean time off, they're taking sabbaticals.
Yeah.
A lot of them are winding down for the holidays, partially because they're under the assumption that there's no real estate business to be had, and so I find that week right before Thanksgiving, all the way up till after the first of the year,
Totally.
agents are kind of laying low. Limit your time off. Limit the time that you take off. I think we always say that as real estate agents, this is a business. We're running a business, and think of yourself maybe as an employee. If you went to go work somewhere, you would, and you had a full-time job, you would get X amount of time off per year.
Per year. Right.
It could be 2 weeks vacation, 3 weeks vacation, a couple sick days here and there, and that's kind of how you need to treat it. Okay, maybe take Thanksgiving, a couple days around the holidays, but you got to show up to work, man.
Yep.
And this is the time to build your pipeline.
Totally.
For Q1. So what agents do is they generally take this time off, and then come the first week of January, then they're starting to build their business for Q1. Well, now at January, in the beginning of January, you're building your business for Q2.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. And, I think part of this is we overcomplicate things. And so as a result, this is a great time of year for the average realtor, not necessarily for the superstar. It's equally as good for them year round because they make it good for them. But as far as the average person, this gives you a built-in excuse for the next 2 months to have conversations with everybody, wishing everybody that happy Thanksgiving. If you haven't talked to one of your clients in a while and you're trying to recoup that client base, call them on the phone and just say, listen, you know what? I've just, been thinking about my real estate career, and I just wanted to reach out to everybody that I'd once sold a home to. Although I don't remain in good communication with you, I wanted to tell you how important you are. I want to thank you so much for helping me. Certainly would appreciate if you'd allow me to stay in touch with you now moving forward. I realize that I need to spend more time with you. Whatever it may be, this is a great time for that. But you got to show up.
Looking at Nick.
Yeah, Nick looked. Yeah.
Well, I was waiting.
leaning into the microphone.
So Todd has a couple of gems that he usually drops on us, and usually the one that he uses in this time is what you focus on today will show up in 90 days. So, I mean, we said this, I think, last week or the week before. If you're not already focusing on 2020, you're already late. So you need to stay working.
You're not too late.
No,
but you're late.
Exactly.
Right.
Just to keep working.
Yeah.
All right. Number two, for me, this is the best time to be a buyer. When I take a look at, the year in entirety, I always tell buyers that this is the best time to be a buyer. So start marketing, create a marketing strategy, create a marketing campaign to get your buyers off the fence ASAP. And a couple of the things that I explained to them is because it's the holidays, there's not as many buyers in the market. So you have a better shot at possibly getting a better deal on a home and getting those concessions that you need. You don't necessarily, and what I explain to buyers, you don't necessarily need to close by the end of the year, but you want to be under contract by the end of the year. And I find that sellers are a little more anxious at this time of year because there aren't as many buyers. They misperceive things as maybe the market slowing down. Maybe we are facing that crash, which we're not.
Right.
And I find that sellers this time of year tend to be a little more gracious when it comes down to providing concessions and maybe coming down on that purchase price because they think that because their house is now sitting on the market a little bit longer, they're more willing to deal. And that's what you got to explain to buyers, that this time of year, you're liable to get a better deal on a house than you're going to get on it if you start writing offers and looking at homes in January.
And let's talk about listings. People always have a tendency to say, well, people just don't want to put their house on the market during the holidays. That is so incorrect. The biggest issue is that, sure, it's inconvenient and people are concerned having people they don't know come into houses when they've got Christmas presents and, thousands of dollars of stuff maybe under the tree, or hundreds of dollars, or $10 worth of McRib coupons for Mike. But the thing is that
just leave sliders and beer out by the fireplace, okay?
Mike will slide down your chimney. But to that particular point, the issue is this is actually still a good time to buy. It's a great time to the points that Mike made, but also from a seller's perspective, the fact that the holidays came around didn't really change the seller's interest in selling. The seller's still very interested in selling for the highest amount of money in the shortest period of time. So don't get sucked into that negative mentality or that lack of productivity mentality that says everybody's off for the holiday and sellers don't want to sell.
So and going back to the first point on this is a great time to market to buyers, to creating that marketing campaign of explaining to your people why this is a good time. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to close escrow by the end of the year, but you want to be under contract by the end of the year, and your buyers and your sellers need to be aware of that. All right, and then the third one, and kind of to your point, just connect with your sphere of influence. So this is a good time to set up some pop-bys. Do 20 to 30 pop-bys between now and the end of the year. I think Pinterest, even though I don't understand Pinterest, my wife loaded it on my phone and I get alerts. But a lot of agents go to Pinterest and search for pop-by ideas. So you can search for real estate Christmas pop-by ideas or real estate Thanksgiving pop-by ideas. And they're pretty much very, very inexpensive. A lot of the stuff you can go to the dollar store, pick up, or you could even just do $5 Starbucks gift cards, whatever the case is. But set up some time. Create your pop-bys, set up some time to drop them off. And to your point, I like you took it to the next level, Todd, as far as picking up the phone and calling. But use your CRM. Go through it. You need to set up, at the very least, Thanksgiving morning or the day before Thanksgiving, and same thing with Christmas. Your sphere of influence especially, at least send them a text message. Hey, thinking about you. Have a great Thanksgiving. Have a Merry Christmas, and so forth. And I like your idea about calling people as well. I mean, imagine that, picking up the phone and calling people. And then, some of the other ideas that agents do is they do a pie day. They go down to Costco, they buy a bunch of pies, or go to Village Inn, get a bunch of pies, set up shop. You can even do it in your office, your local office. Doesn't matter where you do it. You can do it at your home, and invite everybody in your sphere of influence to come by for a free pie on you. And it's a chance to connect with them and puts a good feeling in not only in their heads, but a good feeling in their tummies.
So we've got a lot of things happening around the office. You probably saw the real estate Wednesdays for the Salvation Army thing coming up. We've had some agents that have done some really super ways of plugging in to draw their clients into that. Come meet them at where they're ringing the bell and have your picture taken or donate or whatever those things are. But now is also a great time to use some of the cause marketing we've talked about, over the year, which is, get out there and draw your client into some of those things. We've got Toys for Tots, we've got Socks in a Box, we've got all the different things that are going on for West USA Cares right now, and you can piggyback and then bring those to your clients and have your clients come into the office and donate, or better yet, you swing by for the pop by, knock on the door, say, hey, thank you very much. I'm here to pick up those socks you texted me about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, because you're touching people's heart. You're coming from a point of, I'm not trying to talk to you about getting into real estate. I'm talking to you about, just good things, helping the community, from that perspective. But I want to leave one last thing on another idea, which is an old fashioned one. If you've sold a house in the last 12 months, this current year, 2019, a great reason for a pop by is to bring them a copy of their settlement analysis. Again, their closing disclosure, because they may have misplaced it. If they got a CD from title, they maybe don't know where the heck it is because it was in all the moving boxes and they can't figure out where it ended up. It's probably in their CD drive somewhere as a playlist, but who knows? And then, but they need that for their taxes. So this is a perfect way for you to assist them, help them, but yet have a real purposeful reason for knocking on their door.
Yeah, and then you can also do back to the ringing the bell, the Red Wednesdays. If you're going to do that, do a Facebook Live. Yeah. Promote it. Let everybody know on Facebook what you're doing. Invite them to stop on by, just so that people see what you are doing and giving back. And then you could do a little holiday happy hour. Get your sphere of influence. Find a place, a bar somewhere. Do some great deals on happy hours. The point is to get your people together, connect with them. And see if they're what they're looking to do. Find out what their real estate goals are for 2020. Yeah, and see whether they've got any family or friends.
What do you guys call it? A Recon 15?
Recon 12.
Recon 12. So go find your top 5, 10, 12, 15, whatever number works for you. People that are most likely to refer you business in the next 12 months. The people that you think are closest to your heart and closest to be willing to help you. And I'd start there.
Yeah, and then after the webinar or even right now, you sit down and put together a goal. How many people are you going to connect with between now and the end of the year? You'd be amazed on how Q1 is going to look pretty good. Yep. All right, Nick.
Anything? Oh, sweet. We're just transferring that way. Okay, cool. So the Christmas party's coming up. You can still buy tickets. Please go to westusarsvp.com and get your ticket. I'm not on Facebook Live, and they're just making. There we go. That was a lot of me. Sorry, that was a lot of me. All right, so anybody who can't see us on Facebook Live, you're welcome. All right, so big winner. We did a raffle drawing. So if you bought a ticket for the West USA Cares Christmas party before November 15th, you got entered into a raffle to win a free hotel room the night of the event. And our winner for the room is Beth Cook out of the Awatuki office. So congratulations to Beth. We're very excited to see her and everybody come to our event. We're close to 300 tickets sold. So please get your ticket. It's going to be an amazing night. And I've already threatened a few of you. I've sent some personal invitations out if you haven't gotten one. I'm getting them out as fast as I can. But if you haven't bought a ticket, I'm going to start shaming you on the social media pages.
I haven't bought one yet.
So make sure to please do that.
I bought the room,
but it's two for one right now almost. I mean, if you think about it, this value is like a $60 per person head value just for the food. Never mind all the fun and entertainment, and you're getting all that for $25.
Yeah, $25 a person.
That's
and then
crazy.
I guess between us and don't tell them I said this, but I was told that we are not actually going to bump the prices. So we are going to keep it at $25. But I love you all to death. I've said it 100 times. If we don't tell you guys that prices are going to go up, you won't buy tickets. So please buy the tickets. Yeah. We want to see everybody at the event. It's going to be an amazing night. We're raising money for West USA Cares. Please come down, drinking, eating, casinos, and Mr. Michael Hofstetter will be DJing the night of. So come down, enjoy.
All right, so now we're going to do start promoting the Keith Flynn Road Show here. Seems like he sent us like 8 flyers. Anyways, but part of 2020, this is the time. This is a perfect opportunity to take a look at your social media, what you've been doing, where are you with social media, and get ready for 2020. So Keith Flynn's doing a series of classes. The first one is Instagram on Monday, November 18th at the Mesa office. All of his slides will have the web address there at the bottom left where you can register for it. So he'll take you through Instagram Monday, November 18th. We're hearing music.
There's music coming from somewhere.
Mindy's phone.
All right,
coming
Mindy.
through her headset.
She's new.
Oh, it's coming on my.
All right.
Don't take it out.
if you're not on Facebook Live, you need to. You're missing out if you don't go to the West USA Facebook page and watch us live.
Absolutely.
All right, Keith's also doing Wednesday, November 20th, a Facebook for 2020 class at the Surprise office. It doesn't matter what office you hang your license out; you can attend any of them. And then he's doing another Instagram class in the North Phoenix office Wednesday, November 20th from 1 to 3. I'm sure if you go to the azrealestatetraining.com, all of his classes will be listed. And then, of course, Marge is doing, which one is this one, Todd? Oh, the GRI.
Anatomy of Code of Ethics.
Yeah, so this is for those of you that want your GRI designation or need some more credits for it or just want some really good education. You can email Terry. I put the email address at the bottom left-hand side there. You can email her to get registered for this. This is Thursday, December 5th. I believe, it's up here at the North Phoenix office, so get signed up for it.
Yeah, that's an awesome one. Just in quick, you know how you hate taking a Code of Ethics class? Well, that's because the instructor doesn't understand typically how to apply that class to your day-to-day, real estate career. Marge and Larry are the number one people when it comes to Code of Ethics in the state of Arizona, and even with NAR for that matter. This is a great class, 6 hours of CE. You get, but for $59, lunch is included.
Yeah, I generally don't like going to the Code of Ethics
These
class
because
those examples are always about things that I've done.
Ah.
And so, like, Mike, come on up here. What were you thinking?
Yeah, not anymore, Mike. That was
All
many
right.
years ago.
All right. So about once a month, we're bringing in our corporate recruiter. Is that your official title, Mindy?
Yeah, Director of Career Services. But you can call me that. It's
I
okay.
call you whatever I want. All right. Director of Career Services.
Sender recruits.
Mindy Thompson. And so what a lot of people don't know, Mindy is very, very experienced in real estate. Also been a real estate coach for a long time. And so we'd like to get her insight. All right. So, Mindy, we're talking about there's a difference between those that, control their days as opposed to those that allow the days to control them and they tend to react to the days.
Right. So since I've been in this coaching role, it's the number one problem I see with not only real estate agents, but people who are in control of their time, period. So anyone who doesn't have a boss, people that don't have a 9-to-5 set work schedule, typically have trouble managing their time in a really efficient way. So I kind of wanted to talk about that today and give you some tips on that. And you messed up my points on this, but that's okay. The first point is failing to plan is planning to fail. Did you put that one on there?
No.
All right. So failing to plan is planning to fail. You have to have a plan. Otherwise, you're just setting yourself up for your week to go awry. So plan your week in advance. My recommendation is to sit down on Sunday, take a look at what you have coming up in the week, and then start putting everything on your calendar. So sort of work backwards from there. So what sorts of things should be on your calendar when you're planning that? First of all, go in and any appointments you have set, go in and put those on. So if you have a home inspection you need to be at, or if you have a buyer showing already scheduled, put all of those things on and start there. The second thing is any personal obligations you have this week. I'm a big fan of keeping it all in the same spot. Some people want to have a separate personal as opposed to business calendar. It just mixes everything up and makes it complicated. Keep it simple. Put those things on there. So things like, okay, I've got to go to my daughter's parent-teacher conference on Thursday. Put it on there so you can start to plan around those things. So put your personal obligations on there. The third thing, and I'm going to say it because it's me, plan out your week's prospecting and put it on your calendar. So if you have an open house coming up on Sunday, which days or evenings are you going to go out and door knock and flyer the neighborhood or talk to some of the neighbors? Put it all in there.
We always talk about it. We call it with our team red time and green time. You got to have both. The red time, but the green time means this is the time that you're prospecting, making money, engaging in activities where you're meeting people and with the goal of eventually getting more deals. You have to have red time because you have to have stuff to do with home inspections and things like that. And then the green time, obviously, again, is out there networking. And we always say if you're green time, you're hanging out with people, but the goal is not to talk real estate, then it doesn't count as green time.
Right.
Okay,
Because
good.
green time is green, money's green. So what kind of balance do you think, in your opinion, what's that balance between red and green time? How much time should we be spending prospecting?
So that's a good question. Thanks for asking that. And my rule of thumb is 75% should be income producing activities. So it doesn't necessarily mean prospecting,
Right.
but lead follow up, contract negotiations, appointments, and including prospecting. So between those four, call it the plan, PLAN, 75% of your day should be there, 25% admin.
Yep.
Okay, and then I put you need to block out time to call your past clients, or like you said, your green time. If you just sort of go about your week and go, oh, I'm going to get to it. Yeah, I'm going to get to it. Sure, I'm going to get to it. You're never going to get to it. If it's not on your calendar, you are not going to do it. So what day and time is going to be best for you? Maybe it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 10 to noon. You do that, but put it on your calendar and plan it. And there's a higher percent chance that it'll actually get done. Another thing that needs to go on your calendar is time blocks for admin. So we all have admin work. We all have emails to check. We all have files to work on, paperwork, things like that. What part of your day should that be in? And when you're in that time block, how important is it for you to not answer that text or not answer that email that comes in? I'm saying, no, I have 90 minutes set aside to get this done. I can't be responding and reacting to my clients in my phone right now. So I have to focus. Something that I like you guys, everyone, to put in their calendar is time off. So something that drives me crazy, because I call real estate agents all day long, is on their voicemail when they say, I'm available 24/7. And I'm like, well, no, you're not.
Yeah.
And why are you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
If you are.
Yeah.
Planning your days off will force you to be more effective on your days on. So put those in your schedule. And the main reason I like you to put days off in your schedule is so you don't wake up on a random Wednesday and go, I just don't really feel like it today. I'm going to take the day off. Well, that turns into Thursday, Friday. I'm broke. I need to get a job. Okay. So
I also want to talk about rescheduling. We talk about prospecting. And and time blocking for time that we're going to reach out to our sphere of influence, past clients, and so forth. Okay, but we do know things do pop up. All of a sudden, that buyer calls and says, "Here's the home that I want to go look at." So we tend to drop it, and we should. I mean, that's an income producing activity. However, what we don't do is then reschedule that time blocking, and it's just it's just like if I have an appointment with you, and one of us can't make it, we tend to reschedule it for another time so that it still happens.
See, this is one of the most important reasons for having a coach, because, you sit back and let's say you decided this year, and if you don't, and currently don't have or have not done the business business planning spreadsheet, call a coach and schedule your free 1 hour with them or 30 minutes, whatever, and they will go take you through that. But the point is, you got to know what your numbers are. So let's imagine you want to do 24 units a year, two a month, and you know that you're going to need 32 buyer contacts a month, and you're going to need 7 listing contacts a month. So you have to make that happen. Well, if 7 divided by 4 weeks and then divided by how much time you're putting into it equals, just let's pretend it's 1, and you don't do 1 today, you now have to do 2 tomorrow, because you can't not do the 1. Because if you don't do the 1, guess what? You're not going to hit just the day 1. You just came to the conclusion you're not going to hit your annual goal. So you've got to repeat that. You've got to make that up.
I call it playing Tetris. So in my Google Calendar, I just start to move the spots around to where they're all still there. Nothing gets taken off, but they're all important. So they've all got to have their spot. Okay. So the last part is, when you do put out your plan for the week, so it's Sunday night, I've got my plan. I've got all of these things that I want to do this week. If you want to have it someplace where it's going to be in front of you, so you're going to see it. Like I said, I keep mine in Google Calendar. Some people still like their paper agendas. That's fine. Whatever works for you is what you should do. But pro tip, if you really want to stick to it, share it with somebody. Share it with your team leader, your coach, the person in the office next to you. Maximum accountability, your husband or your wife.
Ooh, now you're talking.
I
Yep.
thought you were calling your past clients right now. Why are you on the computer on Facebook?
Or you're interrupting me. I thought we talked about that I was going to get time blocked for 90 minutes.
Exactly.
So it can go the other way too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's good. So maximum accountability. If you really want to control your day and you know that you're prone to not going that way, share your calendar with a couple people.
All right, maximize your mornings. I put a picture of a coffee cup because that's the only way my mornings really get started.
Of course, me too. So mornings are your money time. The more we can treat our mornings like they are untouchable, like they are sacred, the more likely we will be successful. So what goes into a good morning? As my rule of thumb, all the hardest things. All the hardest things should go in the morning. So your prospecting, maybe your lead follow-up if you really don't like to do that. If you don't like calling your database, get it out of the way. Your workouts, if you like to make excuses for not working out, get it done in the morning. The longer we push things that we need to do out into the afternoon, the more things that are going to come up throughout the day that start to get in the way of it. Inevitably, things start to come up.
It happens to me all the time.
Human nature.
It happens to all of us all the time. So get the hard things out of the way in the morning. If you really don't want to wake up and start reacting to your day, don't wake up and start checking your email. Don't wake up and start checking your email and your voicemails and things like that, because now what are we going to do? We're going to start responding to everybody, right? And then, I've got to go do this, or now this person wants to see this house, and all of a sudden, have I been on Facebook for 30 minutes? It all starts to get away from you. So don't check your email as much as you can. Push off your email until about mid-morning. Now, this next point goes with something that Mike said a minute ago: is as often as you can, don't schedule appointments before noon. So if a buyer does want to see a home, if you do have a listing appointment, if you need to go to the doctor or the dentist, as much as you can, plan those in afternoon hours. We are really likely when a buyer calls and says, I really want to go see this house, we do have a tendency to go, okay, I'm going to just, stop what I'm doing. Yep. And a lot of times you'll find, and I'll just dare you right now just to try it a couple of times. So I'm going to dare everyone right now to try this a couple of times.
That's the dare date right there.
I know you want to see that house and I'm really excited. What works better for you today, 1 or 3 o'clock? See, so you're
reframing it.
Yeah, exactly. And we're controlling our day, right? And you would be off. I'd love feedback from this. And once you guys start to try it, I'd love to hear how it works for you. Every once in a while, we have someone who has weird work hours where their availability is really specific, and there's nothing we can do about that. But most of the time, they will fit themselves into those time slots.
Well, and that's just a good point anyways. We always teach our agents is, even on an open house, no matter where you're meeting with people and how you're communicating with people, set the appointment. Doesn't matter what the appointment is, set an appointment. I think that's a bit, well, we should talk about that in open houses maybe like next time. It's just, I go through these scripts and I go through these conversations agents are having with people at the open house. And then I go, well, what's the follow-up? Yeah. And the looks that I get, they're not going to call you. We'll talk about open houses next time.
Good. And last pro tip for your morning: stay off the news. Don't start your day by listening to, watching, or reading the news. There is nothing good for you there. If you want to spend your time doing something, listen to a podcast, a sales trainer, a motivational speaker, Tony Robbins, whoever. That is a much better use of your morning hours than starting off by watching the news. So that's my last tip for the morning.
For some of you, just might need to stay away from your family.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
that can happen too.
Yeah.
Your kids especially. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Well, I want to go back to this too, because I think one of the elements that's missing in all of this, and Todd and I, we preach on it all the time. You have to be leveraging your CRM on this. And so my rule of thumb is anytime I communicate with someone, the first chance I get, I enter all the data into my CRM system. And the reason that I do it ASAP, and it doesn't matter what time of day, is because I'm going to set up an alert, a task, a follow-up. because I want to make sure that nobody slips through the cracks. And then all the information that I've learned from that conversation is fresh. So every morning, and we're using my phone for Facebook, so a bunch of them popped up every morning at 8 o'clock. I get emails from my CRM letting me know here's all the people that I'm supposed to follow up with today. And then I take a look at my calendar. And is today a prospecting day? And if it is, okay, well, and it is for me today. So now I know everybody I'm going to be calling today.
Perfect. Yep. Perfect. It's a well-organized CRM.
I come off as a little more organized than I really am. I look good on paper, Mindy.
No, but that's the point. That's the point. If you set up your system once and you've done it correctly, it does provide you that. Gives you the ability to be organized when maybe
and I don't know how many.
Not.
And every time I look at my list, I'm like, I don't even remember this person, right? But that's
so
why you have the CRM.
Yeah.
And I go into the CRM and I'm like, oh, okay, we spoke 3 weeks ago, and this is my deliverable, and so forth.
Yeah, and you should take that photo you took of them, what you put on Facebook. Take that photo, because obviously I would imagine you closed the house, you took a photo of them in front of the house or something, right? Take that photo and use it as their contact photo. That way you'll remember the house you sold them, you remember them and their faces, and look at it before you call them. So you kind of get a feeling of who you're talking to.
All right, Mindy, set communication expectations with your clients.
So this is going to be probably my favorite of my 3 points today. And it's easy to do if we can be consistent. So if you really, truly don't want to be reacting all of the time, and you don't, at the time you start working with a new buyer or seller, lay out your communication parameters. And what I mean by that is let's say I start working with a new seller, at the time we start working together, so our very first meeting, I'm going to give them my availability. And I'm going to say something like, I'm available on my cell, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. If you get my voicemail during the day or you send me a text message, I see it and I'm going to get back to you. I really don't like to respond after 7 o'clock. I spend time with my family, things like that. And then here's the thing. Once you lay out those parameters, you really have to stick to them. So I'll give you an example. Sometimes I'm sitting at home at 9 o'clock and a client will text me. And I intentionally don't respond. I can, but I don't, because I'm training them on how to treat me. We are the only, one of the only industries where, you can't text your doctor or your dentist just anytime you want and expect a response back. Right. Why do we feel like we always have to be Johnny on the spot back with our clients? Well, we don't have to be, but we've trained them to treat us that way. And so what we want to do is from the very beginning, train our clients to respect our time frames so that we have a fighting chance at being in control of our day. So resist doing that. I think this is the number one reason that real estate agents will say things like, I don't even know where my day went, or I worked all day, but I don't even know what I got done. Well, it's because you're chasing around your phone and your emails and your texts and things like that all day long, and you don't have to. So always set these parameters with people, set them at the front end so you're not surprising them later, you know, and then stick to it so that they have to, that they respect you.
I wanted to add lib in here, just a quick thing is that, everybody, if we were to say right now, okay, everybody turn over a piece of paper and write a number on there that reflects how many days, the maximum number of days that can go by between conversations that you want to have with me as your realtor, so that you feel that I'm properly communicating with you. And sure, you have your own set parameters, family parameters, children parameters, things like that, communication-wise with your clientele and your business. But it's also important to find out what the individual. So if you ask them, sometimes you just say, listen, I'd like to make sure that I maintain good communication with you. For me to do that, what does that look like? Does it, how often do you need me to, follow up with you to be able to do that? And you'll have some people that'll say, listen, only call me when something hits the fan. And then you'll have other people that's like, well, I'm pretty methodical. I like to know what's going on. And I would like to know what you're doing behind the scenes, for me and things of this nature. So it helps you, because if you just think everybody's the same, they're not.
Yeah, that's very
true. You
true.
could be overworking with some clients and maybe annoying them, and underworking with others.
Exactly. So, also when you have a time block, you have that calling your center of influence time block, or I'm in my paperwork, file work, admin time block. And like I said before, when you see these messages come through, push them off. The mentality should be like, no, I'm in my admin time block right now. I can't take that. Or I'm in my prospecting time block right now. I can't take that. All hell's not going to break loose because you didn't respond 30 seconds after. It just doesn't work that way, even though sometimes we think it does. So we want to stay away. My point is stay away from multitasking, because I always say multitasking is half-assing. And let's just be honest, no one's good at multitasking. Sorry. And and this is another challenge that I want to give to anyone listening to this webinar, is try this out. So the next couple of clients you start working with, just try it. And once again, I think you're going to be really surprised at their willingness to cooperate with respecting your timeframes. I have, like I said, I'll have clients that will call me sometimes late at night or in the evening, and they'll go, I know you're not going to get back to me, don't worry, but I just wanted to leave you a message to tell you that blah, blah, blah. No, they don't care.
No.
But because we've established something, okay? So it's a challenge. I want to challenge you guys to set this up with your next couple of clients. And then once again, let me know how it goes for you. Okay. Have a weekly call set up with your sellers. So establish that. Maybe it's Monday afternoons, maybe it's Friday afternoons, but tell them every Friday between 1 and 2, I'm going to call you with your update from the week, or maybe it's Monday from the weekend. So I'm going to give you the open house feedback, your showing feedback. I'm going to let you know all of the things I've done for you this week to sell your house. Save up your questions all week long. You know I'm going to be calling you. Let's chat about those things every Friday between 1 to 2. Once again, trying to control those little tiny things that come in all throughout the week. Because if they know they're going to hear from you consistently, and maybe Todd, like you said, they'll go, no, I want it twice a week, whatever the case may be. Yeah. We can have that set up to where there's not just these little onesie twosies text messages all day long. And then once you tell them you're going to do that, like I say every week, you have to do it. It has to go in your calendar on a recurrence. They have to be able to count on you for that phone call. Yep. And that's it. When we set limits on our availability, we allow ourselves to be in control of our day. When we don't set limits on it, we're always available, and then we're always reacting. So if you can control that, then you'll be setting yourself in the
Very
spot.
cool.
I mean, the secret to success is mastering your time. I mean, it's a proven fact. I mean, that's just the difference between being successful and maybe not being successful. And it's not easy to do. Getting control of your time is a very, very difficult thing, and it starts. And I think the first step, to your point, Mindy, the start of it is planning out your week, and setting aside time for this. And you make a list of these are all the things that I got to do each week, and you start plugging them, playing, and put them into the system. All right, Mindy, we really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Great stuff. All right, we're gonna bring up Bob here. Don't forget, get signed up for the Christmas party. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a good time.
It's going to be an awesome event.
All right. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
You're on camera.
Yeah.
Not now.
That's a fact.
So this will be coming out of your right side of your speakers at home.
Well, I wish I had a whole hour to sit here, because stuff happens, different things happen. But one of the most important things today I want to bring up here is one of the agents had a situation with someone, and he didn't really stick to the contract exactamundo like it says in there. And the other side of this was another offer that came in, and so the other person could just say, well, we reject your offer. And he thought he had it accepted, but wait a minute, he didn't give them a copy of it until the next day. Well, it's too late. Says so in the contract. You got to be really very careful of that. And he decided to tell his client that he needs to file a lis pendens. Whoa.
Use
Liz
that term in a
pendants.
long
You know what that
time.
means,
That's been a long
Tatum?
time.
Yeah.
Can't say that I do.
Well, that's pending litigation, is what it means. Well, you can't do that. You can't just go do it. Well, he convinced the guy that he needed to do it, and he was going to do it on his own. I said, "You need to call a lawyer." No, I didn't call a lawyer. He's going to go do it on his own and file a Liz pendants against this property that he had a contract. He thought he had a contract on, but the agent had messed up, so he really did not have a contract on it. And the person selling it is a real estate agent. So she's no dummy. She understands how these things work. Oh, I hated that. So be real careful.
Mike, how many times have we heard that on a Friday night somebody gets a call from the listing agent that says, "Yep, I got my seller to sign it. It's a done deal." And the client and the buyer's agent's like, "Yay, I got this one." And they call the client, they tell them they have the offer, and then Saturday when they go to deliver the offer, in the meantime, they've received another offer on the property that's better than that one, and the seller says, "Well, can I accept that one?" And well, they never delivered the other one, so the answer would be yes, because even though they've verbally communicated it, that's not what the contract says. It has to be physically delivered. And so as a result, they have the right. So even as a buyer's agent, you want to go grab that back as quickly as you possibly can to solidify the delivery phase.
That delivery is important. And then I looked something up legally here, and it says here, one of the lawyers wrote this: a document purporting to create an interest in or a lien or encumbrance against real property. And that's a Liz pendants that they file against it. Not authorized by statute or a judgment or other specific legal authority is presumed to be groundless and invalid. And they can sue you for treble damages on this thing. So it's not a small time issue. Yep. And so I sent this information to the agent and said, tell this dude he better get to a lawyer right away if he really believes he has something. But the delivery of the documents he messed up on, and he doesn't have anything, and so he may get after you.
Could happen. Yeah.
So that buyer might be looking for a new agent.
Yeah,
yeah, that could happen.
Yeah. Might have been a small fiduciary issue there.
See, these things are. I don't know. If you read the contract closely, you'll understand these different things. And so that's why I report these things to you on Monday morning here. And hopefully you'll read and understand that contract. All those little phrases mean something. Next guy here, he's got a deal that's canceling. So he needed the proper email for that as everything so that he could cancel. He was talking to me about it. I said, well, don't forget on this cancellation, and you're going to get the earnest money apparently in this case because the buyer decided to cancel the last day. Well, he's going to have to forfeit his earnest money or get sued or whatever they want to do here. It turned out it was wasn't any, well, I don't know, maybe somebody would sue on it. It was like a $140,000 transaction, but there's $1,000 earnest money. I said, well, you get half of it. You understand that, don't you? No, I don't understand that.
Section G.
Well, I'm glad that I'm glad I called you, and I found the form which I've created myself. West USA Earnest Deposit Disbursement goes to the title company and tells them give us half and give the seller half. It's in your listing agreement. They already agreed to that, but you probably didn't understand it or read it or show it to the people when you listed the property. So a lot of them think they're going to get all that money. And I got one today. It's got 10 large involved in it. I got to get back to my office and try to ferret out what's going to happen to that. They are wrong and we are right, but yet yada yada. So I got somebody on the other side whining, and I'm going to have to dispense with that this morning, and I shall. And then The referral fee agreement, we're getting some of those through from different places. This one's from Georgia that I have in my hands here. You can't see it in my hands unless I hold it up.
Well, if you're on
There,
Facebook,
they can
you
see it
can. There you
now.
go.
Here, now
Look
you
at
read
that.
it.
People can now start to see your forms.
This comes from Georgia, and it just got a little bit of yada yada in here, blah blah blah. And the agent sent it to me and said, "Is this okay?" Well, I read it over. Yeah, it's okay, but it's not like we write them, of course. But it's okay as long as it's got a broker on the other side and a broker on this side. And I see Michael Hofstadter's name down below there. So we got a broker on this side for sure. And the other guy claims to be one. So let's see how that one works out. The different things that come in.
Just to go back to that referral agreement for just a second, one of the things that you might want to take a look at in some of those when you get them is don't just automatically send them over to the broker. Look in there first, make sure that you agree to those terms, because what we've been seeing lately is people saying that, hey, I'm referring over this client to you, and you and I just think it might be that one deal, but in the terms of the referral agreement, it says all transactions that person does potentially for up to 2 years or something along those lines. And so, you definitely want to make sure you understand what that referral agreement says before you just send it off.
And that's what Carol asked me. Lady named Carol sent this to me, and she asked me about that. And we're safe on this. When I ferreted out all the information there, we're good. So this will work for what we're doing here. Yeah, you're right. That is important. And a lot of times that has gone on in past years. Mm-hmm. Well, 3 years later, they bought another house from me. Well, I want the money from that too. And you get these PMs going between agents and firms and everything about these things, and you have to read carefully because you might have signed away your rights to that person forever. Mm-hmm. Like divorce or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, here goes one. Sight unseen. Somebody's going to write up a deal sight unseen. Can I do that?
Sure.
Yeah, you can do that. Is it dangerous? Well, sort of. And sometimes a sight unseen happens it's your own listing and you're signing to somebody like in California or Utah or Illinois, and you're getting them all signed up for that thing, sight unseen. If it's your own listing, well, wait a minute. You can't represent that person that's out there.
So just to make sure everyone understands, when you say when it's your listing, you're saying that you also own the property, right?
Well, if you own it, then you can't do it.
Right.
But you could be a dual agent here. But I look at that because this lady wanted, in this case, mm-hmm. This lady wanted to buy a house, and she had found this and talked with this agent for a while, then said she wanted to buy that sight unseen. I told her it was okay. She could do it in this case, but sometimes you may have a problem if it's a dual agency situation. If you own it, you can't, of course, enter into this. But if you're just the agent on it, you could do that. But then the questions come up in the future. If they didn't like the house, if they went ahead and bought it really sight unseen, what about the inspection? Well, she's going to get an inspection, all right, but she won't be here for the inspector. Well, doggone it. Okay. Go ahead and do that and call me as we work our way through this one. Yeah. Sometimes. And here's another thing. Liability insurance for yourself and your teams and whatever. I used to think that's probably it used to be $300-400 or something like that, but it's gone up in price. And I talked with these people that were down there at Costco the other day. We had a whole bunch of people at Costco. We had open house at Costco, 8:00 in the morning over in Chandler. And so I asked them to send me something on this, and she told me it probably up in the area of $1,000 a year. So you should be thinking of that depending on how heavy a policy you buy and how many sales you have during the year. Different things will apply here.
And you can also contact your auto and home or auto and rental insurance agent and ask them because sometimes when you have multiple policies, it's less. Like right now, it should probably be $750 to $800 for $1.3 million coverage, which is $1 million per occurrence, $3 million aggregate.
Yeah, your own insurance company, and sometimes those insurance companies raise the rates to where I just changed. You went over to the one where you just buy what you need. What's that called? Liberty? Something like that. I think I'm going to give this gal
Got
a
that
chance to
jingle
give me
playing in
some
my head now.
stuff going on here.
All right, everybody. We are unfortunately out of time. I do need to remind everybody next week is Thanksgiving, so we are not going to be doing a webinar next Monday. So we're off next Monday.
We are?
Yeah.
I know that.
All
I
righty.
see my schedule.
Okay, we leave you with the quote of the day from Dale Carnegie. Develop success from failures. Discouragement and failure are two of the surest stepping stones to success. Appreciate everybody joining us today. Go out and sell a home.
We're still live.